sometimes more than the people you love, it is these strangers that help you and push you more up.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to Connect with Confidence. And we're popping back over to India for a conversation with Mathew Samuel, who I met at GRD College with Dr. Ram, who was on the podcast recently. So we were both speaking at GRD College on the same day, and then we met in Dr. Ram's office for a cup of tea. Mathew, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Kerry.
It is
Good evening, and thank you for a call.
It is so
It's
good
really
to see
an
you
honor to
again.
be here. Thank you so much. And really appreciate you inviting me for the show.
You're welcome, because when we had that conversation in Dr. Ram's office, it was clear that there's quite a story here, and the way that you spoke of each other was really special.
Yes.
You obviously have quite a history, and I couldn't do a lot of research on you because you said, oh, I don't really have social media, but just now it's a new thing. Your team have got you on LinkedIn, but I just knew that you had quite an amazing business journey. And I think it would be great to start with the question about how talking to strangers has had an impact on your life. And take us through your business story or your life story as you do that. But there was one conversation that happened because Dr. Ram recommended you for a speaking engagement. Did you know anyone in that town where he sent you?
No, in the sense, I didn't know anyone. So you asked the right question, talking to strangers. So I think when we had the conversation a little while ago, before the podcast, we were talking about spirituality. So I am also a very blessed person. I believe that I'm a very, very blessed person. And I always believe that God sends me people. And Dr. Ram is one kind of a person. He's my mentor, my hero. So in this particular incident, I had to he sent me to a particular place as a guest speaker, and it was an award ceremony for a sports event. So I go there, and then I started interacting with the people there. And then I found out that my father's life started in that same small village, in the sense when my dad started his business as a young man, he had come from another city and he stayed in the small village for a few years to set his foundation. And then after so many years, I, as a son, go back as a guest in that particular place. So it was a very, very wonderful moment, and in the sense, no words to express that particular event. So, like how you and me are speaking, or how all of us are evolving in life, I always believe that sometimes more than the people you love, it is these strangers that help you and push you more up. And these are not strangers, they are angels sent by God.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So
Yeah,
just
maybe you should,
to unpack that a
yeah.
little bit, I believe that Dr. Ram just, for some reason, wasn't available to do the speaking engagement, or he wanted to give you an opportunity because you were one of his former students. And he just thought that you would be a good person to go and speak at this event. But he didn't know that you had this family history with that town, did he?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I was also there out of the blue. Everything just happened. Things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Like even like how we met. You came from Australia. I had a speaking engagement. I flew in from Dubai, and then we are having these beautiful conversations. So these are the kind of things that has always happened in my life, to be honest with you. Even
Yeah.
if you look at my business journey, I've never planned anything. Things have been planned ahead. I'm just in the right space at the right time because I'm open to new opportunities, new thought processes, new businesses. So a
That's
little bit
interesting.
about my history. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to hear about that because, people who are very successful in business, which Dr. Ram tells me that you've become very, very successful in business, always talk about having a plan. And, you must have some plans, but there's a lot of openness to what's in front of you and what's around you. Maybe not just what's right in front of you, but what's on either side of you. So yeah, tell us your story. You went to GRD as a young man.
Yes.
Which is quite a college.
Yes. So, like I told you, I like to start. I always start everything with thanking my parents, because my dad and mom, they struggled really hard to build us, and they didn't come from very, very strong backgrounds. My father worked his way up, built a very, very successful business, And then there's a story that goes that I studied in one of the best schools in a place called Kuno. It's a hill station very close to Coimbatore. So I studied there, and the story goes that when my dad was young, he couldn't go for lunch home. So he used to go to school and then he did not have lunch and he used to get back in the evenings. So he built our home close to this big school. So we three kids could have hot lunch. So that's how considerate my father was. And he always motivated us to do better. And so we, with three sons, and I'm the eldest and two younger brothers. What happened is that I was supposed to take over the family business. So, like how we started the conversation about strangers and the dreams. So, my dream was to run my family business, that is my plantation, my tea factory, and my construction business. So this was my dream. I always dreamt of doing it from a very young age. But then I joined my master's in GRD. And when I joined my master's, things kind of, because Dr. Ram has this thing of bringing in, individuals like you and very, very strong-minded people where the kids are motivated. And a lot of my thought processes changed because initially I used to go for these events thinking that it's a waste of time. Anyway, I'm going to my father's business. I don't need to focus on studies or that kind of a stuff because, that thought process, business is different. You don't need an education to do business, that was the kind of thinking that I had. But GRD in one way, what they do is they bring in great leaders like you, leaders, business leaders, movie stars, all these people. And somewhere in the 2 years after the first year, my thinking changed. And I decided that, I had to do something. So it's a spark that happened. And that changed my attitude towards education. And the last 1 year, I did put a lot of effort. I started reading books. I started engaging myself in activities in college all over the place. Meanwhile, I was also taking care of the business. And then I finish college, I go back to the family business. So it's a very beautiful situation in my life where my dream was to run my family business. Today, my brother runs the business. So what I dreamt, I see it in my brother's life.
Yeah.
So it's like my dream, which is a reality, is happening in my brother's life, my younger brother's life. And from there, I go to Dubai. I end up starting a business there in 2003-4 periods. It was not, I was not very, maybe me and a friend from the US, we did start a business at that point of time. That did not work. And then I ended up meeting the CEO of Yardley Perfumes. It's one of the leading perfumery brands in the world. So they were turning that brand around. I happened to meet the CEO. He became a good friend of mine. So he told me that I was leaving back. So he told me, why don't you join the business? And that's where he's my mentor. So his name is also Ram. So Sri Ram, his name is. So I think the name Ram has a lot of connections in my life.
Yeah.
So he did mentor me a lot, and then I learned perfumery, like how to buy perfumes from France, how to design products. So I was young, and then I was like very hungry. So I worked in multiple markets, that is UAE, Saudi, Qatar, Oman, Bahrain. So I had a lot of exposure and distribution in those markets. So that's how my journey started. So what I do now is I build brands with multiple companies. I establish them in the FMCG space, both offline and online. And, I grow businesses in almost 40 countries.
That's incredible. So I was thinking when you mentioned this business that didn't work, and I'm not sure if that's the only time you had that experience, but what were the key things that you learned in that time? Or was it just very quick going into Yardley?
No, see, things were not, it's not like, again, it's all situation. Nothing was planned. So the business did not work out because we wanted to get into the online space in UAE at that point of time. So I was also not very aware. My partner was not, it was not, we didn't take the right decision, so it did not work. So I learned my lessons there. And in business, it's always like that. It's not necessary that every decision of yours is correct. I always believe that in life, you fall, but you have to get up.
Yeah.
Most people, what they do is they fall and they never get up. So whatever is the situation, we might have a setback. I always tell this thing that I always look at a setback, like I tell an example, saying that I don't look at things as a setback. I look at it as like before a tiger pounces, it goes back.
Mm.
Okay. So going back or getting hit is a time of learning, a time of understanding, a time to maybe rethink strategy. There are a lot of examples. I would take some examples from the Bible where Moses had to, he was a prince and then he had to go back in life. Or even in Indian mythology, in the Ramayana, where even the King Ram had to go into the jungle and then come back. So there are times in life where all of us have to have this process of unlearning. And it is in this process of unlearning that we forget that it is not about, it's not failure, it's unlearn. I've made
Yes.
mistakes, I need to correct them and I need to go forward. So that's the way I look at failure.
I feel like this is a really key time to be looking. I think a lot of people are looking at how do we move forward from here. There's a lot of restrictions coming into play with the fuel crisis, and travel might be restricted. There's a lot of people rethinking how do I move forward in these uncertain times. So yeah, I just would love just do a little wisdom download on us.
So we all, like in the sense, I think this generation has already had an experience like this in 2020.
Yep,
Like when
absolutely.
COVID hit, we already had a re-engineering or
Yes.
a new, a new thought processes. And I think it was the first time this generation faced a problem.
Yeah.
Like maybe our parents' generation were World War II generation.
Yeah.
And then after that, 1940s, 42, 43 onwards, there was not much of tussles worldwide. There was always growth. And there was not much of problems in terms of war. There were problems, but not war issues. But COVID, I think, taught us a lot, on how to handle a new situation. So here also, yeah, this will, I think in the next 3-4 weeks, we'll understand more clearly where this is going. Too much of panic is not necessary because we are humans and I believe in humans. We always find a way out.
Yeah, and panic is not helpful for our creativity and problem solving.
Yeah. There's no point overthinking, panicking, or in the sense, I know that especially people in that region, because I'm from Dubai, so I know the issues in the region. There is a little bit of tussle. People are, you're bound to overthink because when you sit in India, when you sit in Australia, when you sit in the US, you're not affected directly. Maybe your fuel cost goes up a little bit. Other than that, the other people are not very affected in this. So in this region, yeah, there is a little bit of pressure will always be there. But then with Dubai, I've been there last 20 years. One thing I'm confident is Dubai always makes a quick comeback. Because culturally, the country is very fundamentally strong in the sense the people there, the leaders there, and especially the leaders there, they're very, very driven people and they're visionaries. And, so Dubai always has this tendency to come back much faster. So I think that's where my attitude also comes back. It's always not a, fall. It's, you crouch and then you jump.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's,
Crouch
yeah,
and then
yeah.
jump. Yeah. I like that. And because at the same time, we've got, AI is disrupting so many industries. And I mean, there's so much enthusiasm and passion in India. And I found it very interesting when I was there and I was asking founders about hiring young people, hiring the graduates, because I was in Mumbai and in Gujarat, Vadodara, in the first few weeks before I went to Coimbatore and then Chennai.
Okay.
And knowing that I was going to be speaking to the students at GRD, I was asking founders of companies about hiring the students that are graduating now. And they were so positive. And it was really a different conversation to what I've had in other places where people are concerned about like a lack of communication skills or lack of motivation. Like the students coming out of the colleges in India right now are so highly motivated and so creative and problem solving. And there's such an energy I found in India. Is that your
Yeah, you're
experience?
absolutely right. Yeah, because India, like I've been working very deeply in the Indian market for almost the last 15 years. And the last 6 years, I've spent a lot of time in the Indian market because I've been building a supplement brand called Nat Extra. It's a wellness supplement brand from one of the largest spice manufacturers in the world called Synthite. So we've been building this brand in the Indian market specifically. So my understanding of the Indian market is very deep in the last 6 years. So what I understood is that you're absolutely right. India is, I would compare India in a situation where the US was in the 80s, 70s and 80s, where the confidence level is very up among the youngsters. Spending is going up because if you compare it to my father's generation or even my generation, I think I'm old now. So in the sense, even to my generation, we were conservative, even though we were coming from affluent backgrounds. We used to be very careful when we spend. So in India, we always used to be brought up in this thought process that there's always a problem. You can never be happy. It was that kind of a thought. Yeah. It was. I think till 15 years ago, you have to be cautious. You have to save money. You have to. You never know when you lose the job. You got to save for the family. You got to save for your children's wedding. So it was that kind of a, uh, you know, you need to go to college. You need to somehow get a job. Otherwise you're done. That was a kind of mindset that, and here, if you don't get married, it's like, you're the biggest loser in town. So this was the thought process 15, I think even 7, 8 years ago. But today's generation today is very confident. Because one thing is that the Indian government also has set up things in such a way that there is opportunity. You rightly said about IT, AI, manufacturing. And also the other thing that has happened is consumerism in India has gone up quite a lot. Like Indians are spending money.
Yeah.
Like they're living for, they're celebrating life. That's the right word to put, in the sense they celebrate their wins. They want to dress up well. They want to wear good skincare. They want to go in good vehicles. The opportunity is there, and this generation is spending it and living life. And they're working hard also. In the sense, it's not like you rightly said, the youngsters are really working hard. They're getting into new industries. A lot of innovations are happening in the country. And for us, we are in India, especially, we are very lucky because the IT infrastructure here is very, very developed.
Yeah.
Like the payment systems, the online payment systems is very, very developed. And if you look at the consumerism thing that happened, you're in Australia, you've traveled the world. So here, what has happened is that where you had a big mall that came into in Sydney or around the world. In the US, Walmart was also there. So all the big companies, they all had the big stores globally that came up, and all of you are used to going to these malls, buying from these big stores like Walmart, etc. So India, what happened is that we went from small stores, very, very small stores. The supermarket culture started in 2005-6 times. The mall culture also started in early 2000 times. So we had McDonald's coming in, all these brands coming in early 2009, end of 90s, 2000 times. At the same time, the online development also happened simultaneously.
Right.
So the Indian, yeah. So that is the reason why India has developed so much in tech, because Indian consumer start just from small shops. We entered into online buying right away.
Yeah, that's an interesting difference.
Not many people understand this, but since I'm in the consumer space, online businesses in India is growing because we're so used to tech. I think we are one of the first countries in the world where we had 10-minute delivery, almost a year and a half ago. Brands like Zepto, and where even for my supplement brand Nat Extra, we had implemented 10-minute delivery, hourly delivery across the country.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So this is the ecosystem now in the country. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little about your ecosystem. Like, how many warehouses do you have across the country? And
for the supplement business, or yeah, for the supplement business,
yeah, or the tea business.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about the supplement business.
Okay.
That's a very, very interesting story. So this company I know you should also meet the founders. I'll invite you to meet the founders. The company started 50 years ago, and they are offices and businesses in 90 countries in the world, and they are the largest spice ingredient manufacturer in the world. So they wanted to develop a supplement brand, and the brand is called Nat Extra. So we started with 4 products, and in India, supplements in 2021 was just a trend. It was like, it was a new thing to the market. Even though there was few other brands, like I told, consumerism is growing in India. At the same time, Indians want to be more healthy also now. longevity, things like that are happening now. So keeping that in mind, we got this brand in. We had 4 SKUs. So we targeted one area called diabetes. So in diabetes, we are like a number one in Amazon today. The product is number one now for diabetes. So we started with 4 products, and now currently we have a bunch of 30 SKUs. So we've built 30 products over the years, and the brand is doing good because one, the products are all very science based, and in terms of the ingredients, they're the best in the world. So, and the thing what I did is that we moved this business online. We tried, and 70% or 80% of our business is online. It's not from the retail stores or from the pharmacies. The
Yeah,
reason is the same. Indian consumer is on the phone,
on the
and the
phone.
payment gateway is on, yeah.
The mobile phones are not necessarily talking to somebody.
Yes, yes, yes. So everybody is communicating, like in the sense to continue the conversation, like around maybe 30, 40 years ago, advertising used to happen through the radio. We used to hear it.
Yeah.
Then we started seeing advertisements on on the newspapers. Then television came. So we started seeing and hearing advertisements.
Yeah.
And after that, what happens is then the mobile phone came. So today we are interacting with the advertisement. We can comment, we can we can talk to the brand saying that I like this product, I don't like this product, what is good. So there is a lot of interaction among the consumer and the suppliers nowadays.
Yes.
So that is it's an interesting stage in marketing also. If you look at it from my point of view, marketing is like I've gone to a window where I told this process of learning that I have. I believe that now I have only a 3-hour window to implement a new idea, because after 90 minutes, that idea is irrelevant or the trend is changing.
Wow.
Yes, because attention span of people is now so limited. And as a brand, especially with Instagram, Facebook, and all the online platforms, gone are the days when we used to have 5 products. We used to change the price a little bit, do a little bit of promotions on the shelves. Those were good old times.
When you said like 90 minutes, I thought it was like in terms of your own motivation. Like if you don't take action on it, then you might talk yourself out of it. But you literally have an idea and then just like test it with the market. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, the marketing idea, it's not the product idea. Product does take time. Like for example, today you might see a trending ad on Instagram or online. If you don't jump onto it today, tomorrow it is not relevant.
Right. Got it.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So don't overthink it.
Yes, yes, yes. So if you think that is relevant, and then I have my ego saying that, okay, I am from this school, this will not work, that will not work. There's no kind of a formula in marketing today. You have to think ahead. Like I'm another interesting example where, like I told you, like I started my career 20 years ago in distribution, where we supply to the stores, the brick and mortar, big stores like Lulu. Lulu Group is a huge group in the Middle East. So they're like the Walmart of GCC. So I started my career by supplying to them, understanding regular distribution. Luckily, in 2012, 13 times, I got into the online space to understand the online space. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Go more deeply into the online space. Because of that, today I'm relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, when you went to speak to the students just recently, what was your core theme or the core teaching that you shared in end of January, early February?
Same thing that we are talking in the sense, one is to be more relevant, learn a lot. I always talk about being humble. The head should always be on the shoulder. Make sure that, you don't forget the people who have always held you on as you grew. They can be the most important pillars in your life are your parents. Then it comes your family. So, there is a structure. And I know as we grow, some people we have to let go. That's part of the process. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who we have to forgive also. They were part of the journey. Just because I changed doesn't mean that that person is not liking me today, but at least I can have a basic relationship with whoever he or she is. So I always stick to the fundamentals in any conversation, like how I'm sticking to you. I don't like to use big jargons or I always believe in Steve Jobs' policy of simplify.
Yes.
or simplicity. And, yeah, but being simple is not easy. So being simple is the most complicated thing, I tell.
Yeah, I really got that when I read a book about Steve Jobs called
Yeah.
Insanely Simple: The Obsession That
Yes.
Drives Us to Success. Have you seen that
Yeah, yeah,
book?
yeah. That's my favorite book.
I don't think I've ever put so many post-it notes in one book. I had little tiny post-it notes tagged
It's
so
an old book.
many.
It's around 15, 20 years old.
Yeah, I've had it for a while and lent it to a few people, and I just thought it is so human to overcomplicate things. So I
Yes.
found that book challenging and refreshing, and I probably need to
And
find it.
actually, to be honest, I don't know how you're telling that. That book is my fundamental.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I look at every problem or any situation on how to be as simple as possible, or solve it in the most simplest form.
That's great.
Without overly, yeah, without overly complicating things. And that has really helped me in the sense, it has really, really helped me in many ways.
Yeah, I love that. Maybe this conversation was just for me to remind me at the moment to just uncomplicate things, just simplify.
Yes, yes, we should. In the sense, we always have this thing of, we complicate things, we overthink too much. See, the more we step back from a situation, it's not that I'm not saying that I don't get angry, or I'm not the best people around. But at the same time, when we have to solve a problem, we have to look at it from a distance and then go close and solve the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, we all face problems every day. In the sense, it's not that there is no problem in our lives. So in the sense, we just have to make sure that, we are very careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things I learned in the last year was, if in doubt, zoom out. And it was actually someone in the crypto world, talking about markets, and, if in doubt, zoom out, because you look at something trending up or trending down and you want to make decisions about that, but then zoom out and have a look at the bigger picture. And I just thought
True.
that applies to life. If in doubt, zoom out. If you're going to get argumentative about a particular thing, what if you zoom out and have a look at the bigger picture?
True. In the sense, and it's always better to choose our battles correctly. We can decide which battle to get in, which battle not to get in. And these are things that we should educate students at a very young age. And I think most colleges or schools are not educating them how to live life, how to face reality. How is it to face real failures?
Mm.
For example, you're going through a stage in life where dad is in the hospital. It's a very, it's a very tricky stage. I went through a stage in life where 1.5 years ago, suddenly I lost my father. I'm still to recover from that, because there are a lot of things that are not in our control. Like, I always believe that that is also very interesting, and very, very, I would say, big lesson for me. Um, so when I was studying, I made sure that I had the right connects in all the hospitals in that particular town, uh, especially in Coimbatore, the who's who of medicine. And the last 20 years, with the help of my friend, I've resolved more than 200 complicated cases, where people want to meet a doctor urgently. There was an emergency. I'm
Yeah.
always a go-to man for that among my friends and my peers. And the thing that happened is that my dad was admitted in the best hospital, and he passes away in the ICU. So it is an irony for me that, even though I was so connected and I knew so many people, I couldn't do anything to help my father. And this happened in that particular hospital. So it is something that even I'm not able to maybe overcome even today. Why? These are questions that you keep asking your head. But these are all lessons that we have to learn and look up and move forward. In the sense, we all, as we reach a certain age, we will lose a lot of people that we love.
Yeah.
And we have to overcome that part also in life as we progress to become better human beings. The whole point of life is to become a better human being, not to make a lot of money or not to wear the best. You have to do everything. You need to have the best car. You need to have the best clothes. You need to be because like you told me that you were a you were a preacher in the sense in
A
one
long
part of
time ago.
in one part. That is one part of your time in life. But now you've chosen the path of business and leadership, and so as a business woman, you need to go in a particular style. You can't go in the preacher style in this particular phase of your life. So as a businessman or as a businesswoman, we need to maintain certain class. We need to use the gadgets. We need to, only then people will respect us in the business. So we need all that. At the same time, we need to be grounded. That's the philosophy that my father taught me. So I follow it diligently.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting when you shared that, about some of the circles that you're moving in, the clients that you're working with. They
Yeah.
notice exactly what it is that you're wearing or what the accessories that you put on the table.
In today's world, the accessories work, especially in the consulting business that you and me are in. The accessories do give a lot of advantage because
Communicating.
I've experimented with this. You can even quote it anywhere or anything. So I bought a nice Louis Vuitton bag from Switzerland, Geneva. So normally I used to be very, I never used to go with brands till a few years ago.
Yeah.
So then I did an experiment. So I got an expensive bag. And then, so I went to meet a client where, we were having negotiation on my cost. So I go to this meeting, I keep the bag next to me, and I quoted, just for the sake of it, I quoted a crazy price. And he didn't negotiate. So then I realized,
So
so
the
then I
bag is
realized,
doing. Sorry, go
so
ahead.
the bag, the bag does the job. So in our kind of a business, we should just look at it another way. Better presentations, better preparation, all that matters.
Yes.
In the sense, even when I was like getting ready for the podcast, a little bit of preparation, a little bit of getting the mindset ready.
Yeah.
It matters so that we can win this particular time that we are spending together. And I hope the message reaches the right audience. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And I would love to know what are the kind of questions that the students asked you, just to come back to that for a minute, because they're so inquisitive. And yeah, I'd love to hear was there a theme with the questions they asked you?
Yeah, with me, generally, the kids normally ask me what are the problems that I faced in life in terms of business challenges that I faced, and how did I overcome it? That's a question that keeps coming up quite a lot.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important conversation, because people can see the car or the Louis Vuitton bag and just assume that somehow it's easier for you. That
Yeah,
somehow you just
not
walk
at all.
through this.
Not at all. Like I know that in the sense, a discipline or a structure in your life actually takes you very far. In the sense, I tell a lot of people that maybe having a small fitness regime every day, maybe having a little bit control of food every day, trying to sleep 7 to 8 hours every day.
Yeah.
Why I'm saying this word every day is because every day matters.
Yes.
So if I don't rest, one day 8 hours or 7 hours of sleep, and we are all in positions where we take decisions.
Yeah.
And it is not about the number of hours you work or the kind of work that we do. It is the decisions that we take that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So only if you have clarity and you're rested well, your mind is working very clearly.
Yeah.
So as you grow up in business or in the corporate ladder, it's not the number of hours that you work matters. It's the number of decisions that you take during the course of the day. And these decisions some of them are day-to-day decisions, some of them are long-term decisions, and the decisions that we take affects maybe hundreds of people's lives.
Mm.
So we need to have that responsibility towards ourselves. Like I learned this from Jeff Bezos, in the sense, like in one of the books that I read, he is very clear on the number of hours he rests, the number of the pattern that he follows, because he also says that it is the decisions that we take matters. Like in my situation, yeah, I have to decide, okay, I'm going with this particular product into the market. Now, okay, I decide the product, then I have to decide the label, the bottle. I have to come up with the particular, the advertisement that I'm going to do, then the marketing thought process that I'm going to do. So uh, these are all decisions that will decide whether the product is going to win or not. So most people don't understand this. They just, they think that being unrested or, not being in the perfect mindset on your day to day. And when you're in that kind of a mindset, you progress.
Yes.
So I'm only looking at the last 1 hour I was like this. I hope I was a little bit better the next 1 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's small wins matters in the sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And figuring out what works for you, like the morning walk, you do that for a week and then don't do that for a week and you know the difference.
Yes. True. True.
Yeah.
True.
And
True.
I
True.
have to
True.
say,
So,
it's perfect this time of year. It gets a little bit harder in the middle of winter.
true. True.
then
True.
it
True.
might be
True.
a slightly later morning walk.
Yeah. So fitness, again, like you told, it's not about having a six pack or building muscle or anything. Be basically fit, keep that as I tell this to a lot of youngsters in the sense, have a basic fundamental fitness level so
Yeah.
that everything depends on, every move that you make matters in the sense. There are days when you need to rest, when you're not in form, when you're in form, out of form. But whether you're in form, out of form, when you have a certain behavior that you keep doing every day, you come back to form faster.
Yes. Yeah. You see what
Yeah.
works and track that and keep doing that.
True,
Yeah.
true, Kerry. Yeah.
It's so valuable to have this time with you, Matthew. I feel like there's so many more conversations that we could have. And I just wanted to ask quickly about, we talked about moving quickly with online trends, for example, and, but also what do you see with brands? Sometimes they can just kind of copycat rather than go with their uniqueness because it's different. And I think it takes some confidence to just go with what is different, what is unique, rather than try and fit what the world says that you should be doing. What are some of the most unique kind of brands that you've supported to just go bold?
In terms of brands, I again come back to the supplement brand that I'm working now, Nat Extra. So that's been a very, very interesting concept. One, it was very challenging because, like I told, I have a great history of building big, big businesses and big, big brands. So we get into this project just 2021. COVID was just, out of the radar. We get into the business. The first year was very challenging because we didn't know, in the sense, we did place the products on the market. The market did not accept the products. That's when I coming back to your discipline, listening to, I still, every day, I still go to 10 stores or 10 pharmacies or 10 supermarkets every day. That's like a fundamental that I have to understand what the consumer is talking because it's my business. So
Okay.
whatever business I do, I tell people that you might be a rag picker. So as a rag picker, you need to go to the dustbin every day. So same way, if I'm in the consumer business, I need to go to the store every day. I understand and pick up the trend. So in this business, it was a little challenging the first year for us. And around 7 months down the line, one of my distributors gave me a call, told us that the product that we had, the Gymnimac D, it's an extract of a leaf that is used to support blood sugar people. So it's a very, very effective product. And we have done clinical studies and it's a highly researched supplement. And it's a plant extract. So this person, he's a big pharmacist in Bangalore. And then his mother-in-law did try the supplement, which I had sent as a sample. And then her sugar levels are improving. So this was like an eureka moment for me where I thought, okay, fine, I need to focus on this particular product to make the brand win. So then I put all my energies into this particular product, and today the brand won because of that one decision that I took.
Yeah.
So, like I told you, it's all about listening, understanding, and making sure that you put full effort in the direction that you believe in. So when you build a brand or a product, it's always important that you believe in the brand and okay, the market has this problem, you're giving the solution. But you need to go really deep and push your ideas in the right way.
Yes.
Market will tell. Sometimes your ideas might not work. But we need to go understand the market better and try to win the market.
Yes. Yeah, and I really hear the power of one story and one person that you can connect with and hear their story, and the power of listening, as you say.
True. In the sense, for me, like this, a lot of incidents have been game changers like me in life. In the sense, one of my greatest wins was during COVID. Just before COVID, I signed up with a huge perfume brand, in the sense. So that's what I say, that God plays a very, very critical role in my life, in the sense. So just before COVID, I signed up with a big group selling perfumes, and they had developed a skincare range. And I signed a contract with them, and I started supplying the products to Dubai, Oman, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. Then COVID comes. This guy ends up having the largest sanitizer stock in the GCC in that particular period of time. And I had the rights to sell those products for a particular period of time. So I always say that I was trained for those 45 days where I could apply all the strategies that I learned. And I don't know if you know Indian mythology a little bit.
A little bit. I hear different stories, but please tell.
Yeah, okay. There is this in Indian mythology. There's a story. There's a person called Arjuna in the book of Mahabharata. So he's a very, very famous warrior. So this guy, he wins this war called Kurukshetra. There's a big war that happens between two cousin brothers, and Arjuna is the main guy who wins the war. So he was born and bred just to fight that battle in life, and that was his only purpose. So the thing in life is that, like I told, like how I believe that I was made for that particular 40 days for Corona, during that time to build and distribute those sanitizers, which was a big business for me. All of us should try to identify or be ready for moments in life that can appear, and we have to believe that. The opportunities comes in the sense, but we have to be ready. You never know when the next opportunity is coming.
Yes, which just
I know I'm going
reminds
a
me.
little deep.
No, that's great. And something that comes up for me that I saw recently, I think it was David Avron, who I met in Singapore 2015, my first speakers convention over there. And I just saw recently that he posted something about getting a passport. Like, if you haven't traveled and you think that's something you'd like to do one day, just go get a passport. Even if you think you're not going to use it this year or next year, but you put that passport on your desk and you look at it. And it's something that I did years ago. And I think 2006, I had 24 hours notice to go to Singapore for a job. And I had the passport. It was just, and that's, since then, I've just really believed that. So be prepared to be able to do something that might still be beyond your wildest dreams, but be able to say yes.
True. In the sense, because we're all specialists in a particular field. Like now you're sitting here, you're having conversations with very, very normal people like me, which I'm very thankful for. At the same time, you never know. Your next conversation might be with the Prime Minister of Australia or the Prime Minister of India. You never know who you meet, and you're just one step away from becoming the biggest podcaster on the planet.
I think I'd have some competition there. But you know what's funny? Like, just the other night, Friday night, Saturday morning, within 12 hours, I had 5 different requests from people around the globe, mostly America, asking could they be on my podcast, or asking could their client be on my podcast. And generally, I don't keep up with these emails. I try and reply to them and say, sorry, I've got like a long list at the moment of people that I actually have connected with in real life. But one of them, and I don't want to say too much yet, but absolutely fascinating story. And she's been with National Geographic for quite some time, and so done some really interesting expeditions. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that email caught my eye. So I'm not sure what's happening with the podcast, but I think one of the emails acknowledged, because they all mentioned previous podcasts, recent podcasts. One of them said, congratulations on your 129th episode. And I was like, oh, is that what we're up to? Because we decided at the beginning not to number them. Maybe we should have on second thought, because we didn't realize that they would add up to like 129 episodes. Maybe you're 132. Yeah.
Wow, good.
Approximately.
I'm honored to be there. Yes, yes, yes. And
We
discuss
could,
various thoughts. We're just sharing, a very open interaction on, you know, experiences in life. Yeah, that's it.
yeah. And I think that's what people want, real conversations. And
Yeah.
I mean, I talk about talking to strangers, and really, I've only had a very brief conversation with you in Dr. Ram's office over a cup of tea. And his lovely son, Mithil, came in with a gift box of Indian
Yes.
teas. I tell you what, they're very popular here in my house when we have guests. I'm like, they're not going to last. I need to go back to India.
You should come back in the sense, and I'll take
Yes.
you to the tea gardens. Yeah. Yeah, you should
Yeah.
come with family this time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my husband wants to come back because the only time he's been in India was at the start of the pandemic, early in March 2020, and
Okay. Okay.
flew into Coimbatore from Singapore on an empty flight. There was 24 people, including the cabin crew. So we
Okay.
land in Coimbatore, the airport's empty, and my husband's teasing me because my previous visit with a colleague, Nathan, was so hectic, and we talked about the airports and how we got separated and looking after our luggage, and it was just kind of chaos. And then my husband seeing this empty airport and just going, "Oh, it's a breeze traveling in India." And we're like, "Yeah, that's because everybody's already kind of going into lockdown." So yeah,
And
didn't
maybe
speak.
your next book should be Talking to Angels, Not Strangers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so maybe we could co-write a book called How to Connect with Angels.
Yes, yes, true, 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 true. Because I always believe it's these people who we believe are strangers are the people who, if you look back and connect the dots, they are the people who help you the most in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever I look back, it was these people who have just popped up out of the blue
Yeah.
have been the transformation in my life.
Tell me about one of the most unexpected ones.
I told you, right? One of the earliest moments is that when I met this, I think, like I told you, right? When I connect the dots of my life, like even like how Steve Jobs says that when we look back, okay, we all work hard. We all, everybody, there are people who work harder than you and me every single day. Maybe they've not made the kind of money that we have. That's the only difference. We are here because we already had a platform. So for me, the way I connect these dots is that, okay, I go back to my school. Okay, I can just tell my life in dots. Uh,
Yeah.
take out the hard work and all that. My dad puts me in one of the best schools in India. So there, so that's it starts with that. I come to Coimbatore to GRD to study. There I meet my best friend Sandeep. Through Sandeep, I meet his brother-in-law. Both of us, he's from the US. His name is Mr. Vivek. He's another mentor of mine. We go to Dubai to start this business. During that period, I meet the CEO of Yardley. Then I join the company. It's just because I had access to these people did I meet the CEO of a big company. And just because my work was visible to him, there were maybe 100 salesmen who joined at my own time. But just because I had access to the top guy, he knew that I was working. And that pushed me in the corporate ladder faster. We forget to realize that. We always think it's my hard work. It's just that I had a better platform than rest of the guys.
You also had an openness to connect.
Yes, that is all fine. That's all there. It's just that I was able to use the platform that I was given. Maybe everybody is given the platform, but depends on how we use the platform that we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of us maybe don't use the platform or the decision that I took when my business failed in Dubai. I was like 23, 24. At that point of time, I had to take a decision whether to stay back with this, with him or with Yardley or to go back. And it was just one call. I go to say bye to one person, and then he says, Mathew, why don't you stick back in this business? I didn't get paid for 6 months, but I took the decision to stay back.
Yeah.
And that changed everything. So
Wow. So you took a risk also.
yeah, we all have to take risks.
Yes.
In the sense, sometimes we go with our intuition, and the guys who take the risks are the winners in most cases. I wouldn't say it's a risk. You kind of know to read the situation better, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe those
Yeah.
people who use the word risk, they don't express the amount of data or the amount of thought process that they have outside.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned a really key thought there too, which was paying attention to your intuition.
Yeah. In the sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get the opportunity, work as much as possible. Learn about any particular industry that you're in very deeply. I think this is something that I tell people. In the sense, if I'm in the perfumery industry or the supplement business, I need to know what is happening in the supplement business every day.
Yeah.
What are the new developments in terms of products that are happening? What are the new marketing trends? What is the consumer talking? What is my team telling? So I need to understand this on a daily basis. Then we grow. I cannot say that I'm the big boss. I know it all. Just do what I say. It doesn't work. I have
Yeah.
to be humble. And
Yeah.
today, like you rightly said about India, the boy who makes my AI videos is only 18 years old.
Yeah.
He's been working with me for the last 1.5 years. That's another brilliant example of how India is going today.
Yeah.
This kid comes into my office through a reference. He just comes to see me. I talked to him. He's just finished his maybe 12th grade. He's like 16 at that point of time. Uh, Very brilliant. He talks very professionally. He says, "Sir, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm helping a boy on TED Talk. We've developed a YouTube channel." So he's all boom, boom. I really liked his work. So I tell him, "Okay, do one thing. Come tomorrow with a proposal. I will make sure that I fund your college education.
Wow.
So I'll give you a project where you can do work for me and your college fees is taken care of." So that's a deal in which I spoke to him. I didn't expect him to come back. This 16-year-old comes back the next day with a printed sheet of paper telling, "Sir, I will do this, 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 this. Let's work."
That's
So
fantastic.
yes. So today we need to even look at maybe 12-year-old, 13-year-olds mindset, because maybe they understand AI and all that much better than us. Like
Yeah.
there's a thing there's a thing that I think you will start noticing this. There's a huge thing that is happening in the Korean cosmetic industry. Every teenager is, especially the girls, are in using products from Korean cosmetics. So a 15-year-old girl knows more about makeup than a 25-year-old girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the awareness among the teenagers and the access they have towards information has increased. And those kids who are able to use that information the right way, they end up having a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like there are two ways. People say don't use computer or internet at home. There's another school also that says that, okay, if my son, he wants to probe the internet very deeply on a particular topic, he can probe.
Yeah.
Like he can go back to history, understand history, or whatever he's learning, he can understand it very deeply if he's a really smart kid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really contentious issue in a few countries now. Australia's just passed this social media ban, and I just saw this
Yeah.
girl in Indonesia, and she's in tears, and her mum's upset because she's like very young. She's a young teenager, and she's the primary breadwinner because of her social media, and her mum's unwell.
Yes.
So it's like there are kids using social media really powerfully to transform their family's wealth and well-being. So yeah, very complicated. But we're out of time, so that's an interesting note to finish on. But I just
Okay,
love
sure.
that you shared that story about that young man that's now working for you, and you're putting him through college. It's incredible. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank you.
much
Thank you, Kerry.
for
Thank you, Kerry. Thank
sharing.
you. Wonderful conversation, and thank you for inviting me to your podcast. It's been a pleasure, and especially thank you, KKR sir, also for putting both of us together for this podcast.
It
And
was
I'm
lovely.
sure that you will do great podcasts.
Thank you.
And like I said, maybe you will interview Prime Minister Modi.
Okay, well, that would be lovely. So just invite me over,
Yes.
and we'll see what we can do.
Yes. Thank you, Kerry.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Matthew.
Bye. Thank you.